As I already said, that, these are miracle workers. If you look at pre-primary education, I think that is the most critical segment of the education trajectory. What happens at pre-primary, nobody knows. You just realize that children, when they reach the formal schools, and up till 2020, NEP 2020, this was a very unstructured segment. And I think the marginalized children, the largest segment lay in the marginalized and the rural sector, where pre-primary did not exist. We had Anganwadis, and that's where the majority of the children, between 3 to 8 years, they studied. So over here, we don't have anybody from the government sector, but we have all the private sectors who have already practiced, and they're going to be sharing some good practices. And with NEP 2020, this segment has acquired the much deserved focus. And much deserved and much, although it's late, but, not too late. It's never too late, and I think it has caught up speed because the NCF 2022 has already been there. There is a robust document on early childhood care and education, which consists of 330 pages. And it would, if you go through it, it would clear all your doubts. All the guidelines have been given as to how you need to conduct. What are the NEP, how does NEP translates into practice? So without losing much more time, let me pick your brains. So let me just pose my first question. So setting the base, my first question goes to Anshita Gupta. Anshita. So what is the significance and role of early childhood care and education? And because I think your coordinate said that you are a childhood expert, so what does research has to say on it?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, thank you so much for, giving me this question to answer, because this is a very, very interesting, and that is the most important part, It is a very famous saying that the first 5 years tells you how the next 80 turns out to be. And this was famously quoted by Bill Gates. And this tells the significance of a good early childhood education and care. That, the first 5 years of human brain actually develops how that human being is going to be in the next 80 years. So, we know that, according to multiple, researches and theories, that, till the age of 6, the human brain develops at a very, very rapid pace. And during this time, it is very important that, we give the right stimulation. And, children are like sponges. Whatever we are going to give to them, they're going to absorb it. So why we just focus on, higher education, we are focusing on good colleges and, entrance tests. But yes, this is the most important element and most important part of the society to understand that, we have to give the right early childhood education, because that is how they are going to build a nation in future. They are the future leaders. So we should be giving them the right, stimulation by, giving them the right quality that is needed at this age. So early childhood education just doesn't have academics. We generally focus कि बच्चे को ABCD सिखा दो, 1 to 10 सिखा दो. But early childhood is much, much more than that. It focuses on the complete 12 multiple intelligences, and there are a lot of developments that have to be taken care of. And if we have to grow a fully, if we are growing future leaders, it is very important that we just don't focus on their IQs, but we also focus on their EQs and SQs, because that is what is very crucial for future, that they should be like, in the previous session we had this, that the mental abilities, that we should be empathetic, so these are the values that we have to inculcate at this age. So the if we are talking about a right early childhood program, it will not just focus on the academics part. It should actually focus on the EQ and the SQ part of it as well. Because and why SQ? Because, a social quotient is very important. The confidence, the communication skills should also be developed at this age. Then only we can, we are raising future leaders.
So basically, child, your early ECCE talks about the domains of development, which is linguistic, cognitive, socio-emotional, and all these, and that's the time when your brain is developing at the fastest. So, you have to optimize on the opportunity and give as many stimulations so that a child is able to build that network. So it's a cognitive development, and also because you are laying the foundation for values, so you have to create, the stronger the foundation, the better the manifestation in the adulthood would be. And as you rightly said, that, what a child is, what a human being is in his, as an adult, is a manifestation of what he's gone through in his early years. So it's a very, very critical, and probably that's the reason why it has been realized that, we have to lay strong focus. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my next question is, I'm using technology, so I thought might as well use technology when you are talking about technology. It is to Dr. Harshita. Dr. Harshita, what, according to you, are the most critical recommendation of NEP 2020 with respect to early childhood education and care? And are we, as a nation, prepared for it? And since you said you are into teacher training and teacher empowerment, I thought that's the right question for you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for this question, and thank you, Chandanji and the entire ArtCom team for connecting such wonderful educators. I think this is the platform. Because of them, we all connected and sharing such wonderful insights, which is there. So when I'm talking about the nation, I think I'll ask that, are we as educators first prepared for that? Right? So it starts always from us. So before we point out to the nation, I think it's us. So when we're talking about 85% of the brain which develops, in the first 6 years of age, and why now the emphasis on the early child care and education? Because more than 55% of the children are not reading the basic simple text at the age of 10, that is 5th standard, in spite of latest research, development, and the best infrastructure. And that is the reason now it has boiled down to, having, a lot of emphasis on ECE, which is there. It is flexible, definitely. It is holistic in approach on papers. How we are going to implement is actually a very, very crucial point. As educators, when we talk about, the impact when we are talking about here, it focuses on physical motor development. It focuses on, emotional and ethical, development, which is there. Importance on when we're talking about, language literacy and numeracy. How about even, reflecting on the language, what we are using? It starts from there in the classrooms, what teachers are using, what a child is using, and everyone. So it starts from that. It talks about, connecting with the immediate environment, play-based learning, and activity-based learning, inquiry-based, which is there. All of those things are very, very holistic in approach. They're good. Yes, all of us know about Maria Montessori. How many of we have done a research on Gidubhai Badekta, where we know that we have the best of the things, and how many of us are really proud to say that, we are, Indians and having the best pedagogies which are there. So the pedagogies has to match with the learning outcome, which is very, very important. It is not just to complete the, the portion, or because we're doing it because we want this to happen, which is there. As we were interacting also, it was like to do this thing because the parents want this. How often teachers, when we're talking about being emotionally resilient, teachers are emotionally resilient, which is very important because a teacher who is transforming so many lives, how often she has insight and a reflection and a professional. Before she goes to the next class, also have a reflection that how she, is empty vessel and non-judgmental before going to the next class, which is there. So the crucial areas when we're talking about is definitely, on the framework, which is very, very flexible, play-based. The first time they're talking about, play in the first standard, which was, very critical because how to teach is very, very important, not what to teach, right? So teachers, I think we have ample of, resources available for what? But how to make it so simpler that a teacher find it's really, really, enjoyable. So everything what a teacher is doing, first she should enjoy and the entire class would enjoy. And that is so important, which is there. So keeping all, I think it's very, very child-centric, and it boils down to even, when we talk about the assessment is for learning and not just being that this is to label a child or the marks which are there. So the continuous feedback, even which is also very, very critical in the entire policy when you look into it, very comprehensive, very detailed, beautifully on the paper, as I said. Yes, we have to put our hands together to make sure that if even 50% of whatever has been done, and if we can implement, I think we will see a huge difference to build India as a knowledge superpower house, what we are aiming at. And when we're targeting about in the next 5 years, where every child in the grade 3 should able to read the grade level books, right? So we have the grade level books, but how many children are able to read? And how many children are emotionally resilient, which is very important, which is there. So that's where I think the emphasis is all about.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Harshita. So basically, NEP, I think you're very, from your perspective and from the preschool perspective, which are being run as a private entity, is very rightly said that, what is required is that sensitivity at the level of the teachers. But are we prepared as a nation goes about, are we prepared as a nation for the larger number of children? Where we didn't even have we don't have the bandwidth, we don't have the curriculum, we don't have a standardized way of assessment. So there we have a long way to go because...
I think one more thing what I would like to add is along with the teachers. So when we are emphasizing so much on the teacher development, how about shifting the mental model of the parents who are the very important stakeholders, because everything rolled down to we are doing because the parents want it. Why not something which is not going as a guideline that our school follows this policy, this. Let them experience and be it in the school that 2 hours and go through the process, which is very important because parents have attended the school 25 years back where they want to now do everything what they have missed out in the school have not done, and they haven't gone through all the research and what has happened in these 25 years in the field of education. And if they're aware, I think everybody would want their child to be, happier, healthier and successful. In that process, a school has to convey that message in a very, very subtle way, involving that as they are, very, very important stakeholders. I think that also would help us.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Harshita. So basically, NEP is laying a lot of focus on ensuring the child, your early childhood care and education is implemented in the right spirit and in the right pedagogy, which we are experiencing in the private sector, in some good schools, they have been able to, but there are issues because of the parent mindset. Now this has to be extended nationwide, so can technology be used? What is it that how can we leverage technology to share knowledge, information, skill, and, take this mission forward? So may I come to you, because now that we are talking about solutioning, so what is it that you have to, in continuation with this NEP recommendation, and what is it that can, what solutions are available?
So actually, if you look at right now, if you look at the education landscape, there's a very big divide.
Yeah.
Right. There are two. It's polarized. There is one hardcore technology group which says that technology is inevitable, that you have to push it through, and the other is the conventional, the more grounded, the more old school of thought who say look, technology can't take over everything. I think that the answer lies in between. I mean, I very firmly believe it has to be an integrated solution. It cannot be either ways, because technology is inevitable. Even if I don't want a child to get exposed to technology, he is going to, because he's surrounded by it. I mean, you have smartphones, you have tabs, you have everything which is smarter. Probably there's a joke which says, phones are getting smarter, people are getting dumber. So, I mean, that's actually the reality. Technology is inevitable, but how do you allow access to it? How do you actually, introduce a child to technology which is measured and which is actually calculated, in the sense that the child also knows that there are limitations. For example, one of the products that we are working on is
So before we come to the child, I'm talking about how can technology be used to take the mission forward? This in relation to NEP.
I mean, like even NEP is now actually introducing a lot of technology, even from a very early age. You have AR, then you have VR, then obviously coding comes in, AI comes in. So I mean, the point is, one of the person saying was, how do you get parents to buy into it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, again, for that there are two problems. One, ensuring the parent you get a buy-in from a parent. The second is educating the parent, because we are a developing country, so there are a lot of parents who actually don't know anything about AR, VR or machine learning. So when I go and tell a parent, this is what we are doing, how do you actually get them to say, okay, this is what we need to do? Obviously, technology in relation with how can it be leveraged onto NEP. Obviously, while it is very sad and it's tragic, but one thing that COVID has given us is the exposure to technology. Today, I think it catalyzed that whole process of getting people, aware of technology, of online classes, of, using resources online. I think that has been a big jump. So I think in keeping with...
And NCF 2022 is focusing on leveraging technology, using it for teachers, for parents, for,
True.
Thank you.
I think one point that I want to make is, once you touch the child, you inevitably touch the parent. Because through the parent, the child learns. So
I may have to get back to you again, because I'll have to go into the specific. But before that, I would like to ask Neetu. Your question is, early childhood education is synonymous with play. It's social interaction. And no, it's not for you, it's for Sandhya. So social interaction and sensorial experience. So what are the consequences of integrating technology? Because there's a huge debate. Even when you talk about integrating technology in preschool, the teachers go hands up. They feel that it is this stage we should let the children be.
First of all, we should understand what is education, early childhood education. It's really very important, because everyone knows Abhimanyu's story. He learned so many, that Chakravyuha, how to break the chakravyuha in his mother's womb only, right? See, till 5 years, that subconscious mind is too active. We can teach anything, children can learn very easily. What are the things we are serving, it learns very easily. Okay. वो ऐसा मैं बोलना चाहता है एक्चुअली, वो भी है एक स्टोरी शिवाजी महाराज का. आई कनेक्ट विद योर क्वेश्चन लेटर. शिवाजी महाराज का उधर क्या हो रहे, his mother while feeding the food, she was explaining so many things. After few years, वो पूरा उसका ड्रीम फुलफिल हो गया. हाउ इट इज पॉसिबल? हम भी कितना सारा चीज़ इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे प्री स्कूल में, लेकिन कुछ भी नहीं हो रहे. लेकिन वो लोगों का इम्पैक्ट उतना स्ट्रॉन्ग कैसे था? बिकॉज वे ऑफ प्रेजेंटेशन, वे ऑफ प्रेजेंटेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दैट इफ इट इज रियली स्ट्रॉन्ग, एनी किड कैन लर्न एनीथिंग. ओके, ऐसा नहीं रहते हैं एक सीख सकते एक नहीं सीख सकते, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. लेकिन मैं एक कहना चाहती हूँ, डिजिटलाइजेशन, ओके, डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज इन अ सिंपल वे इट इज़ ए परफेक्ट रिपीटेड प्रेजेंटेशन है. उसमें कुछ भी आप रिपीटेडली बताया तो बच्चों का माइंड में इतना इम्पैक्ट करता है. इट इज़ इम्पैक्टिंग लाइक एनीथिंग, दे कैन प्रूव एनीथिंग. ओके. See, one more thing, so many things I observed at my preschool.
You're using technology?
Yeah, I'm using technology.
Okay.
In the year 2001, I have started the school. I started training to my teacher. They are not up to the mark, according to me. See, I have prepared some PPT presentation with melodious music. Then after a few days, that result was awesome.
So it's stimulation.
Yeah, stimulation.
So you are using it for...
Yeah, what I want to say, presentation is very important. While teaching, what way we are teaching, that is very important.
And for what you are using? Are you using it as a tool, or you are using it, as a teacher is using it as a tool, or
Yeah,
student is using it?
Teachers as well as the student tools. Because first teacher should understand and then they should present it. Okay. And one more observation I have done. After 2-3 years, each and every year, there is a huge difference between the children. 2 साल पहले एक बच्चे कैसे हम टीच करते थे, after 2 years we cannot do it. But students, children are upgrading. कभी लगता है, इसलिए मैं अभिमन्यु का स्टोरी बताया, बच्चे शायद सीख कर आ रहे स्कूल को, ऐसा लगता है हमको. Okay, that time teachers are not having any upgradation. We cannot organize upgradation class each and every year. Okay. For this,
Yeah.
okay, technology, it is technology helpful for us. A matter में तो मुझे लगता है we have to use the technology.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So
Yeah.
I'll just go to Neetu for this.
Yeah.
So it is generally, what is your, on the similar question, that do you think technology takes the child away from development, the natural development?
I would like to start.
Because see, look at the aim, like what we were talking about, is to develop them socially, emotionally, language development. So by using technology or giving technology in the hands of children,
I will say the years of early childhood is something where we are developing, we are evolving the soil, we are preparing the soil to evolve the further generation, the India's upcoming future basically, the next generation entirely. What I feel, good morning first of all of you present here, and ma'am, thank you for giving the opportunity. It's an afternoon, yes, sorry. So now what I feel, technology is playing a very crucial part with us. In a way, it is hindering the 3 major genres of children. Like first is the social emotional connect of the child. If we see nowadays, children are so much busy in the technology with their own gadgets, they don't need anyone. They are busy. If the child is at home and he's having a mobile or something, You will not come to know even around the area ki he is there. He is busy playing. Secondly, what is that we are getting out of it? How we produce, what we are producing basically, in inverted comma, an introvert from mind and heart both. Thanks to technology. Basically, what technology is giving? A child who is not able to put his words, his heart to anyone.
So is your school using technology?
Yes, ma'am, we are using technology, but technology has to be balanced in a very proper manner. Like knowledge like Readers Club. Now, what we are giving a platform child to use it, when you read, record it, and send to the teacher. If you are pronouncing something wrong, if you are not reading at a good pace, the teacher will correct you on the mobile itself that you are doing this mistake here, and you will get a good perk, or I should say good initiative present for that. For a month, reader award will be awarded to you. So this is how they are using the technology. It's not always watching the material. The internet is flowing so much of, I should say, now time. The second thing, parents cannot monitor the child what they are seeing. The inappropriate, I should say the age inappropriate filters are there. Another thing, we are not able to give the correct information has to be provided to the child. We are giving the parents, if the child want to see the mobile, we are giving them links of the further good poems, stories, or the stories which are connected to our past times, like mythological stories, and we are asking the same questions from the next day in the class, so that they can connect to some good material which are, instead of cartoons and everything.
So it's monitored and controlled by the school.
Yes.
So if you're controlling technology and you're using and you're sorting out the material, so you feel it's a good tool for children?
I would like to say, technology, if it is useful, it is your servant. But if it's not useful, it is not left free, it will be turning as I should say, dangerous path. It is entirely a dangerous path. So children are like, if we are teaching everything at early childhood, like how they have to sit, how they have to go in their life, how they have to face the problems, then why not to teach them, give that wise decision that this is right and this is wrong? We have to only teach them we have to give them guidance. We don't have to go for the screen time. The parents are like that, ma'am, they don't have lunch, basically, without seeing that mobile. But
fine, I think we all agree that children are technology, they are tech native and they would be attracted towards technology. But at preschool, is it good? Is it bad? Is it, what should be the judicious use? So Sneha, I'll come to you because I know you all are using a lot of technology and I would like to pick your brains on, it is a research says that they lack experience and knowledge, but they have sound logic and reasoning. So can technology be used to stimulate their cognitive spheres, and how can it be used?
Right. First of all, thank you for the wonderful question. I think let's just start from the beginning to just connect the dots. So, I was just hearing the whole conversation about technology. We need to understand first how, as humans, are we evolving?
Right.
So, to start with, we've all, my generation has heard their parents speak about that, when we used to go to school, it was so difficult, we did not have transport to go to school, we had to walk, or we never had buses or cars like you, we were not that privileged or whatever. And I remember my father, he comes from a very, very humble background. So he always used to tell me the story that, I remember we never had electricity, so we used to sit on the footpath, and that's how I studied and all of that. So that was their struggle, and probably I cannot relate to it. And that generation thinks that we are privileged because we don't have to see that part of it. And, from our generation perspective, when I see the kids of today, whether it's the younger ones in the family, when I see them dictating something to the Siri and the Siri typing for them and they're not typing for themselves, and how we also keep on going like, we had to write so many pages, we would struggle to complete our assignments and all of that. Now look at you, you're privileged with all of this technology coming into place and all of that. But we need to understand it's an evolution. And first of all, from that perspective, coming to the mindset that we need to change ourselves as educators first. We need to be very, very adaptive because we are sitting in a country which has a very, very young population. And to cater to those young minds, we need to first change our minds as educators. And we need to understand that it's a technology-driven generation. You just can't take away technology from them. And technology, to be honest, is a very, very big enabler in education because I mean, imagine without technology, what COVID time would have been for us. It would have been 0 years. 20 years without technology. So it's very important. It's a big enabler in education. And also, why is it important? As ma'am also said, yes, we do use a lot of technology. We've been using it since a really long time now at Sanfort. I believe that technology is very good as for igniting that fire in the young children to learn. So earlier, how we used to teach them is through flashcards or through books or through drawing some things. Now see, replacing all of that, you're showing them some sort of videos or ARs and VRs and all of that. Imagine that now the level of imagination they would be having by seeing all of them. So that builds the curiosity for them to learn more. Oh, what is happening? Why is this thing there? They can't go and see a lion in the zoo, or probably they can't see a lot of things which are not available for them to see. It's not possible for them to see physically. But they can see it through technology and they can relate to it, and that would create in them the curiosity to question things, which is very important in early years. So the process should be to ignite that fire in them, that why and how and what is happening. And so that leads to education. Rather than them structuring everything, it should be unstructured. According to me, early years should be unstructured, should be more of a free learning, and it should only be guided learning, where the teacher comes in and tells them that, oh, this is how this is, and then whatever the question that the child asks, this is where their learning begins from.
So it's like wonderment and awe, because you know that the attention span of the children is really, really short.
Really, really short.
And now it's going to become even shorter. So how you can use technology smartly to ease the teacher's work, to help them, generate curiosity, leverage their reasoning, and expedite, accelerate the process of learning.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
No
it is
doubt.
not teaching. The teacher doesn't have to teach. The child will himself learn
Yeah,
if he's
absolutely.
curious.
I mean, like how in the previous session, what Kanak says was absolutely right, that, you can't take technology from the children, and also, technology is not here to replace teachers. It cannot replace humans. I'm sorry, there's going to be no robots coming in the classroom and teaching. But definitely, a teacher without technology, who knows technology, will definitely replace the teacher who doesn't know technology. That will surely happen. There's no doubt in it.
So I think that was really well said, and I've seen the way your books, you have used augmented reality, and the minute there's a creature, in the classroom, the children are bound to pay attention.
Yeah, what is it?
What
How
is
is it
And,
happening?
and then the thinking starts.
Absolutely.
And learning is all about getting curious,
And
trying
it's
to figure out.
Yes. Early years is all about experiences.
Yes.
So, I mean, just giving you a little example, and then we can, So when I was doing, I was teaching in a camp in UK while I was doing my master's in Leeds. So, I mean, over here, children don't go to jungles or climb trees and things like that, how we do it in the European countries. It has to do more of a experiential learning, which doesn't happen over here anymore, especially in the metropolitans. But still, we can create a lot of experience for the children, because experience is what matters in early years, rather than moving them on to the books and all those redundant and repetitive learning and mugging.
Yeah, virtual experiences, I think, which could replace. So before we just close down, and I'm already getting the signal, one quick recommendation that you have. what you feel is most recommended in terms of, technology integration in preschool. What is your top tool that you may say, or a service that you may feel should be included in the schools?
I think, the basic necessity is that every preschool should have smart boards and lot of learning videos, lot of interactive games where the child can come forward on the smart board and do a couple of things together. Nowadays, the smart boards are where 2-3 children can work on it together. So that also brings
there are a
in
lot
a
of
group
quizzes.
together. Yes. So you can do a lot of activities with that.
Yeah. What about you? I think coming from Chrysaalis, something to do with logical thinking? Yeah.
So basically, in continuation to what Sneha was saying, see, moderation in what we use, just previous question that you asked, so I'm just adding a couple of points of mine. It is extremely important that technology be safe, right? I think beyond everything else, like ma'am also was saying, you really don't know what will pop up when you're online, right?
And that's a big fear.
The problem is, most of these times, children are unattended, they're alone. So you really don't know what they're watching or what they're not watching. So in my opinion, it has to be that there has to be a safety latch to it. Any technology that we give in the children's hand, whether it's preschool, primary, middle, whatever, till they're adults, till they can actually decide what's right and wrong. And again, in that respect, one very beautiful point was made, ki end of the day, technology is inevitable. Why don't we tell children what is right and what is wrong and then give them the tool, right? So I think, which again comes back to your conventional education of what you were trying to do, and so, which is why I said, it has to be a moderation, it is an integration of both these. It cannot be one alone. From our perspective, what we are doing in terms of, whole brain development, or how do we actually create that curiosity in learning? We basically integrate again, hands-on learning, a lot of activities, a lot of play, a lot of interaction with other peers.
And the speed.
And of course, and this develops automatically. And now we are also trying to integrate marginal amounts of technology so that we remain relevant. Because I very firmly believe, education reflects the society, right? I cannot teach a child on a blackboard when the child goes home and starts working on a tablet. It is not, it doesn't work that way. So I need to reflect what the society is at right now, and this is where we are. We acknowledge it. We say, okay, this is what it is, and how do we safely introduce? I think our focus would be on that.
All right. Thank you so much. What about you? One
So
recommendation.
So I would really go with them only, that, smart boards and the videos are the must, that
Okay.
should be given. And for the teachers, I feel that, assessment should be, technology based, because it gives more room for, more particular assessments can be done if technology is there.
Okay. Yes.
I would like to say at the end, technology is something really very important, and we should believe in our child that they are basically good and smart enough to use the technology as a tool in a most wonderful thing.
So any recommendation?
Basically,
like any tool that you feel is really good, which can be used?
every tool is good in its a way if it is used in a proper manner.
All right.
What I really feel is that.
Thank you.
Every tool is required. We cannot we cannot leave our children, keep them as isolated from any of the tools right now.
So it is teacher-led tools. Yes.
Yeah, I would say a balanced approach, which is very, very important. And at the same time, teach from your heart and not from your mind. And that's something which is really the key, because making them emotionally more stable is important. Experiential learning. Why we only talk about the international exchange program? Why not even children visit our villages and have the exchange and have experience in the real life when they are in the early years as well? So connecting the city and the urban schools, which could be also good.
There is a one proverb in Kannada, actually, 3 ವರ್ಷದ ಬುದ್ಧಿ 100 ವರ್ಷದವರೆಗೆ. It means actually, what are the things kids learn at the age of 3, it remains forever. Because we want to teach effective way, that's very important. Then only we'll expect the children, they can achieve something. Okay, due to that, actually, I want to say technology is very, very important for preschool.
So thank you so much. I'm glad that everybody unanimously feels that technology can be used in preschools. So I think that myth that, preschoolers should be left from technology, I think that gets busted. We can use it judiciously. We can use it as a tool. We can use it to excite children. And we'll look for more information and more solutions for pre-primary, because I think there is some limitation in terms of how much and how much is too much, So, yeah.
Initially, what you said initially in the beginning when you started off was there's a large number of children, a large population, which is not that privileged enough to what we were talking about in the whole panel. And I think the only solution for that also, which we all need to work on, is PPP model, which is a public-private partnership, because of course the government cannot do it alone.
Absolutely.
And I think until unless we as private players come into that place of going into Anganwadis and going into the smallest village in India, this goal can never be fulfilled.
And like SDG 17 goal, it talks about partnerships.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, I think that's, a brilliant thought. And I think if everybody, all of us,
Take a
just
step
step
forward
ahead
on it, yes.
and, embrace, because there you need a lot. A lot needs to happen because they're starting from the scratch.
Yeah,
They don't have the infrastructure, the bandwidth, or the teachers.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for a wonderful session. And sorry for the delay, in case we've kind of crossed the time.
So not at all, sorry. It was indeed an amazing and interactive session. Kudos to all of you. I would request Mr. Chandan to kindly be on stage for the felicitation.